Hey everybody, welcome back to the second installment of the Hip Flexor Health Series. Last video we went over the Pso-Rite and how to position the Pso-Rite onto the hip flexor to get that to loosen up. It's like a soft tissue massage of the psoas muscle by putting the Pso-Rite in this area there to get that muscle to kind of loosen up, break up any spasm that's going on through extended periods of sitting, or maybe an old low back injury and just bad function. So once we've got that kind of woken up in a way, what we want to do is immediately get into the stretch. And so this video is going to be about how to stretch it. We're going to make it real simple today and just go over the hip flexor stretch and why we're doing it. So in this position here, here's my stick man. Eyes are forward, spine is straight. You're taking a knee on the ground and driving the hip forward. So basically you're trying to move the hip forward here, keeping the back straight the whole time. A lot of times when this is done improperly, what you'll see is something like this here, and the person leans forward and they bend forward at the back, and really what happens, there's no change at the hip, because we're trying to get this muscle right here, which is this hip flexor, we're trying to get that to elongate. And if I lean forward, the hip, the pelvis will stay right where it's at. So this is knee on the ground, eyes forward, dropping the hip while moving forward, keeping the back straight, real simple, and I'll show you how it's done.
Okay, so here's how to get in the position. First, I'd recommend you put a mat down of some sort or a pad, just because the down knee gets a little sore at times. So here I'm showing the spine is straight, the front foot is flat on the ground, and the hands are on the hips, and having the hands on the hips really allows you to pull the shoulder blades back and get in that good posture. So now from this position, I'm going to glide forward and still keeping the spine in a vertical position and keeping the abs tight. So on this one here, if you think you're not in the right position, a lot of times what could happen is you don't want to let the belly button come forward and get a big belly. So you got to keep your abs braced as you slide down, because if you do have a tight hip flexor, it's common to see the abs relax, and so therefore the belly will stick out. So here I'm keeping my abs braced and gliding forward. So here's some of the ways that things you don't want to see. So here I'm in a bent over position. I see this all the time. First off, the heel's off the ground. So that puts a lot of the stress into the kneecap. And this actually, just for those that are watching that know anything about the knee over toes phenomenon that's going on out there, we'll probably do another video on that and whether that's a good thing or not. And I'll chime in and give you my opinion on that. But in this position here, I want the heel down. Also, I'm bent forward, and that bent forward position, basically, if you draw a line from my shoulders to my knee, there's been no change in the hip. So all I did was bend forward, and so the hip stayed right where it was, and the hip flexor in this position actually isn't getting stretched at all. And here you see that I'm leaning over and just kind of a nice relaxed position. And then the other position I'm going to show is with the heel down in the same position here, and then leaning forward. I see this all the time. People are just kind of taking a knee and putting their elbows on the knee and leaning forward as if they're trying to get a hip flexor stretch. And really the only thing that's being stretched here is the deep hamstring on the front leg, and that's not what we're trying to get after. Okay, so along with the Pso-Rite, that's going to help stimulate those hip flexors to loosen up. This hip flexor stretch, this basic hip flexor stretch, is going to help change that muscle into a different position. You should feel some relief in the low back, and also some relief in if you have any old knee injury or knee pain or soreness from exercise in your knee or your low back. This should help take care of that. And like everything else, if you have any questions about how to use the Pso-Rite and how to use the stretch, or how to get into the stretch properly, give me a call. I'll come out and meet you. And as always, be safe out there and take care.